Algebra 2, Module 2, Lesson 11, transforming the graph of the sine function. So we're just looking at sine here. Number 1 says, given the graph of y equals sine of x below, sketch the graph of the function f of x is equal to the sine of 4x on the same set of the axes. Explain the similarities and differences between the two graphs. Okay, so all we're going to do is we have y is equal to the sine of x right here. Now we're going to put right on top of it what 4x means. So instead of sine of x, now we're going to have sine of 4x. So what will that look like? And what that's going to do is, in your lesson, you should know that that's going to be a horizontal scaling of a factor of 1/4, right? If you watch the video, you know that whatever goes in front of that x is going to be talking about the horizontal scaling. So what that means is it's going to cross the x-axis 4 times what it normally crosses the x-axis. Okay? So what that means is we have from here to here, it crosses it 1 time, right? We start at 0 and we go to the pi, it crosses it 1 time. So this means that we're going to cross it 4 different times here before we get to it. Excuse me. So what that's going to look like, it's kind of hard to see here. Let me make these a little bit bigger so I can actually look at it. Okay. So if that is pi, that means that's 180, right? And 2 pi means it's going to be 360, which means it's going to rotate. That's 1 rotation. So we're going to cross, if you start here, let me make sure I've got this graph right. It's going to look something like this. It's going to look something like that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. You got a little crazy there on the end. 1, 2, 3. 1. There we go. It's going to look something like that. Now, why does it look like that? Well, the period is different and the frequency, right? So it's going to change the values of the x-intercept, the maximum and the minimum points, and it's going to increase your intervals, right? How many times it crosses the x-axis. Now the amplitude of the two graphs stay the same. Remember, the amplitude is simply the distance, the midline to the maximum. Those are still the same. We didn't move outside of that, so we're still talking basically about a unit circle of 1, right? Let's see what you are saying here. Okay. Now, number 2, let's look at the second one. The second one is the sine of x over 2. Okay. So, instead of it being 4x, think of it as 1/2 x. Okay. This sine function is like saying 1/2 x. Now, if we look at what we're going to graph, this is 3 sine of 1/2 x, right? Sine of x over 2. So, since the 3 is in front of the sine, we're talking about the amplitude. So that's what's changing. Okay. The amplitude is changing. How many times we cross the x-axis is going to be remaining the same, because what's in the graph, or what's inside the parentheses, is the exact same. We're not changing our period. okay, or the frequencies. We're just changing the amplitude. So the amplitude, excuse me, I got something in my throat. We're going to go up to 3 and come back down here. And we'll go down to 3 and come back up here. Okay, that's all that you're looking at.